University Challenge. Asking the questions, Amol Rajan.
Hello and welcome to University Challenge, where two more teams are about to play their first of a possible three quarter-finals. In this round of the competition, teams have to win twice to secure their place in the semis and may lose once without being knocked out. So whoever wins tonight will be seeing both teams play again. The team from Sheffield are here tonight, having beaten Loughborough University in round one comfortably, and the University of Aberdeen in round two much less comfortably. Aberdeen were in fact better on the buzzer in that second match, but did very little with their bonuses, meaning that on the gong, Sheffield just about had the edge. They've been excellent so far on film, literature and popular music, but look completely lost on economics, and their average score per game is 210 points. Let's meet them for the third time.
Hi, I'm Safia Rujak. I'm from Plymouth in Devon and I'm studying history.
Hi, I'm Joe McGough. I'm from Coventry and I'm studying history and Spanish.
And their captain?
Hello, I'm Cameron Colclough. I'm from Sheffield and I'm studying biophysics.
Hi, I'm Matthew O'Neill. I'm from Blythe in Northumberland and I'm studying for a Masters in Philosophy.
The team from Imperial College London have cruised through both their matches so far, beating first Balliol College Oxford and then Lincoln College Oxford by more than 100 points each time. In fact, up to now, they have never once been behind on points. They've answered faultlessly on numerous subjects, ranging from notable swords to Irish history. But in their second round match, they did drop points on astronomy and politics. Their average score per game is just shy of 270. Let's meet them again.
Hi, I'm Justin Lee. I'm from Hong Kong and Canada, and I'm studying chemistry.
Hello, I'm Adam Jones. I'm from Hong Kong and I study computer science.
And their captain?
Hello, I'm Soraya Haddad. I'm from Manchester and I'm studying medicine.
Hello, I'm Shorojit Devnath. I'm originally from Calcutta, India, and I'm currently studying for a Masters in Applied Computational Science and Engineering.
Well, you clearly know the rules, so let's get straight to it. Fingers on buzzers. Here is your first starter for 10. From 1715 to 1766, the Jesuit artist Giuseppe Castiglione served as court painter to three successive rulers of which country? His blending of local styles with those of his native Italy can be seen in his work 100 Horses in a Landscape, executed on an 8-metre-long silk scroll.
Imperial Lee.
China?
China is correct, yes. Your bonus is Imperial. The three questions on the early modern Spanish author Garcia Rodriguez de Montalvo. First, compiled and added to by Montalvo, the chivalric romance collection Amadis of Gaul is mentioned as one of the main works leading to the madness of what literary character?
Don Quixote.
Yeah. Don Quixote?
Correct. Montalvo's sequel to Amadis, The Adventures of Esplandian, names a mythical island thought to be the origin of the name of which US state, initially believed by Spanish explorers to be an island?
Oh, California.
Okay. California?
Correct. In Esplandian, California is said to be the homeland of what mythical creatures, often depicted as having a lion's body and an eagle's head?
Sphinx.
Lion's body, eagle's head.
Is that more Griffin?
Yeah, I think that's more Griffin. Griffin?
It is a griffin, yes. I'll start the question. Hosted at Brands Hatch in 1983, the Race of Champions, one of the last non-championship Formula One races, was won by which driver competing for Williams? He was the reigning world champion, and in 2016, his son would also become world champion.
Sheffield Colclough.
Rosberg.
Yes, KK Rosberg. Your bonuses then, Sheffield, are three questions on phonetics. In phonetics, what term most commonly describes a sound made with the tip of the tongue curled up and back towards the palate?
Oh, let me see.
The places like P and
Fricatives and...
fricatives, I'd go for fricatives.
Fricatives.
No, it's retroflex. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, retroflex sounds are represented with symbols similar to those of their corresponding alveolar symbols, but with what modification?
Some sort of accent. Like an accent aigu or something like that.
An axon aigu. I don't know. An axon aigu.
No, it's a hook or tail. Give any of the three digraphs, two-letter combinations that is, used to represent retroflex sounds in pinyin, the official romanization system of Mandarin Chinese.
ZH or something?
Yeah. ZH.
Is correct. Let's start the question now. Used in the Geiger-Marsden experiment, which type of particle detector uses materials that produce a brief, bright flash when a particle interacts with the crystal lattice? It is these flashes that give them their name.
Imperial Devnath.
Is it a scintillator?
Yes, it is. Scintillators, yes. Your bonuses then, Imperial, are 3 questions on a function in mathematics. First, ignoring arbitrary constants, what function is both the derivative and the integral with respect to x of the hyperbolic sine of x?
Hyperbolic cosine or?
Yeah, try that.
Okay. Hyperbolic cosine?
Is correct. From the Latin word for chain, what name is given to curves of the form y equals c cosh x divided by c? This is the shape a uniform chain makes when freely hanging between 2 fixed points not in the same vertical line.
Nominate Debnath?
Catenary?
Correct. Finally, in response to a 1690 challenge by Jacob Bernoulli, 3 mathematicians contributed to the complete description of the equation of the catenary. Johann Bernoulli and Gottfried Leibniz were 2. Which Dutch mathematician was the other?
Huygens?
Could be.
Nominate Lee.
Huygens?
It was Christian Huygens, yes. Let's start the question now. Naomi Klein and Avi Lewis's 2004 documentary, The Take, is an account of workers' occupation of a car plant in which capital city of the Americas? The factory in question had been closed under the presidency of Carlos Menem.
Imperial Lee.
Mexico City?
No.
Sheffield Mail.
Buenos Aires.
It is Buenos Aires, yes. Your bonuses then, Sheffield, are 3 questions on Hanukkah. The Jewish festival of Hanukkah commemorates the rededication of the Second Temple of Jerusalem during the revolt in 164 BCE of which Jewish group against the Hellenistic culture being enforced in Judea?
The Mennonites, the Hittites, the Menoras, or the Mennonites.
The Mennonites, yeah.
Mennonites.
I think that's
Yeah. Mennonites.
No, it's the Maccabees. The Maccabean revolt was conducted against which empire, one of the successor states of the empire of Alexander the Great?
No, not the Byzantine.
Albanian Empire.
Maybe Persian, I don't know.
The Persian Empire.
No, it's the Seleucid Empire. For how many days does Hanukkah last? A candle is lit on each day to commemorate the miracle whereby one candle burned for this many days with oil sufficient for only one.
Yeah. 8.
Correct, yes, it is 8. Let's have a picture round then. And for your picture starter, you're going to see a map showing the route of an ocean current. For 10 points, name the current shown.
Imperial Lee.
The Great South Stream?
No.
Sheffield Mail.
A Ghoul guess count?
Correct, yes. For your picture starter, you saw a map showing the route of the Agulhas current, one of the world's largest and fastest ocean currents. For your picture bonuses, you'll see 3 more maps showing the routes of major currents, with 5 points for each you can name. First.
The Southern Current.
You have that maybe Andean.
Yeah.
It's like the Andean.
Galapagos. The Andean Current.
No, it's the Humboldt current. Secondly.
The South China Current. I mean, it's the whole of China, isn't it? Yeah. Any ideas?
No.
The Cyano Current.
No, that was the Kuroshio current. And finally.
Gulf Stream.
Yeah, well, that would be the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay. And do you have any ideas? Gulf Current.
The Gulf.
Stream, Gulf Current. What do you want to go for?
Gulf Stream, that's an actual phrase.
Yeah. The Gulf Stream.
That is the Gulf Stream, yes. Let's start the question now, then. Formulated by the utilitarian philosopher Jeremy Bentham, what theoretical algorithm examines the moral worth...
Sheffield Mail.
Hedonic calculus?
It is the hedonic calculus, yes, well done. Your bonuses then, Sheffield, are on notable banquets in history. Given in order to garner support for a crusade, the Feast of the Pheasant was a banquet given in 1454 by which Duke of Burgundy? His court was notable for its splendour and artistic patronage.
Like a number or something? Or a name?
Probably a name. So, any French name? Burgon?
Jean-Luc.
Something de Burgon. Jean-Luc?
Come on.
Jean-Luc.
No, it's Philip the Good, or the Third. The Black Dinner was a 1440 banquet held at Edinburgh Castle, at which the 16-year-old Earl of which clan was, along with his brother, murdered in front of James II in order to reduce the clan's influence.
Yeah, you sure? The MacDonald clan.
No, it's the Douglas. At his coronation, the first in Britain in more than 50 years, which king's lavish banquet at Westminster Hall was so expensive that his younger brother halted the tradition when he was crowned king 10 years later?
George IV, I think.
Yeah.
Because it would be after 50 years.
George IV.
Is correct. Let's start a question. What 8-letter word has all the following meanings? In engineering, a machine element used either to split or merge fluid flow. In the philosophy of Immanuel Kant, the unorganized content of the phenomenal world. And in mathematics, a topological space that is locally Euclidean.
Imperial deep math.
Manifold.
Manifold is correct. Your bonuses, Imperial, are on ballads. In each case, give the two words that complete the titles of the works described. First, a novella by Carson McCullers, whose title alludes to an impromptu drinking establishment run by...
Nominate Jones.
Sad Cafe.
Sad Cafe is correct. An epic poem of 1911 by G.K. Chesterton about Alfred the Great's victory at Eddington. It takes its name from a famous hill figure, the Ballad of the...
White Horse, I think.
White Horse.
Correct. A 2018 anthology film written and directed by the Coen brothers. Its title refers to the character played by Tim Blake Nelson in the
Nominate
opening
Jones.
story, The Ballad of...
Buster Scruggs.
Buster Scruggs is correct. Let's start the question now, then. I need the title of a work here. Quote, "Ah, bitter chill it was, the owl for all his feathers was a cold. The hare limped trembling through the frozen grass, and silent was the flock in woolly fold." Which narrative poem of 1819 by John Keats begins with those words after stating the day on which it is set?
Imperial Jones.
The Eve of St. Agnes.
Correct, yes. Your bonuses, Imperial, are 3 questions on a group of biomolecules called secretory proteins. Synthesised in the cytosol, secretory proteins are usually first targeted to which cellular organelle, whose 2-word name partially refers to its net-like appearance?
Golgi apparatus. Is it a Golgi apparatus? No.
Is that or endoplasmic reticulum? Oh.
Endoplasmic reticulum.
Go with that one. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum.
Is correct. Most secretory proteins contain a signal sequence that allows them to be delivered to the endoplasmic reticulum. What physical property with a name that means water-fearing can be used to describe these signal sequences?
Hydrophobic.
Correct, yes. This signal sequence is usually removed after the secretory protein enters the endoplasmic reticulum. What term, also used to refer to the interior of blood vessels, is used for the inside of the endoplasmic reticulum?
Lumen.
Lumen is correct, yes. Let's start the question. Listen carefully. I'll need you to spell your answer here. What 6 letters spell 2 words, each pronounced differently, that mean the following? The outer skin periodically cast or shed by a snake or similar reptile, and an area of miry, muddy ground or bog, such as that into which Christian falls in Bunyan's Pilgrim's Progress.
Sheffield Conclave.
M-I-R-E.
No. I'll tell you, it was S-L-O-U-G-H, as in slough and slough. Now let's start the question now. Landing in 1600 on the Dutch ship Liefde, the ship's pilot, William Adams, became the first English person to set foot in which country? His involvement in local politics and rivalry with the Portuguese inspired a historical novel by James Clavell.
Imperial deep math.
Japan.
It was Japan, yeah. And the novel was Shogun. 3 bonus questions, Imperial, on works by the composer Jean Sibelius. Which young warrior hero of the Kalevala gives his name to a suite of 4-tone poems by Sibelius, 3 of which are based on his legendary adventures? The other is the Swan of Tuonela, often performed separately.
Nominate Jones.
Lemminkainen.
Correct. This is a quote. "In Pohjola, there are thick, dark forests that dream wild dreams forever secret." These lines accompany the original publication of which late tone poem by Sibelius, also based on a figure in Finnish myth?
Finlandia or...
Oh, that makes sense, doesn't it? Just go
Go
for
Tapiola.
Tapiola. Tapiola.
Tapiola.
Yes, Tapiola is correct, yes. Finally, compiled from the remains of a longer work that Sibelius attempted to destroy, which 3-movement suite shares its usual name with a historical region currently divided between Finland and Russia?
Karelia.
Oh yeah, Karelia.
Correct. A music round now, and for your music starter, you'll hear a piece of popular music. For 10 points, name the band performing.
25 tons of hard steel.
Sheffield McGough.
Blondie?
Blondie it is, yes. For that music starter, you heard The Hardest Part by Blondie, a single from their album Eat to the Beat. This was an early example of a visual album where a short film is released alongside the album and soundtracked by it. For your music bonuses, you'll hear 3 more tracks taken from visual albums with 5 points for each artist you can identify. Firstly...
It's like I'm powerful.
Janelle Monáe. Janelle Monáe? Yeah? Janelle Monáe.
Janelle Monáe.
Correct. Secondly...
Is it like Niels Fram or something like that? Or John Adams, John Hopkins? Do you know any of those? John Hopkins, Niels Fram? Brian Eno? Brian? Yeah? Come on. David Bowie.
Come on. Have a go.
Brian Eno.
No, it's Animal Collective. Finally,
Daft Punk.
Daft Punk.
of course, it's Daft Punk. Let's start the question now. In coordination chemistry, what specific form of chelating ligand is ethylene diamine? The classification refers to the maximum number of donor groups when it is attached to a central metal atom.
Imperial Lee.
Hapticity?
No,
Sheffield Rujak.
Bidentate?
it is bidentate, yes. Your bonuses then, Sheffield, are on a philosophical school. The name of which school of philosophy derives from an ancient Greek word meaning a covered walkway or portico. A specific one known as the painted porch was where Zeno of Citium initially taught.
Skepticism, maybe? I know. Well, you know, just paradoxes and stuff, so is that Oriel? What's a covered walkway in Greek? And that is... Oh, God, I should know this. Well, don't get caught on it. If you just say skepticism.
Yes. Skepticism.
Stoicism. Known as future tense passions in Stoicism, what negative emotions are denoted by the Greek terms epithumia and phobos?
Oh, well, phobos is fear. Epithumia, humour. Epi means greed. The form usually, doesn't it? It'd be like pain and fear. And that is?
Pain and fear.
No, I can't accept that. It was lust or desire and fear. Finally, seen to be well-reasoned and not excessive, the three good states in Stoicism are wish, watchfulness, and what other, known in Greek as chara. I need a three-letter term.
Whoa. Wit. Yeah.
Wit.
No, it's joy. Let's start the question now. Swanhilda and France are young lovers in which comic ballet? First performed...
Imperial Haddad.
Capalia?
It is Coppelia, yes. Your bonuses, Imperial, are questions on a theme in art. First, Defacement is a painting of 1983 by which US artist? It memorialises his friend and fellow street artist Michael Stewart, who died as a result of injuries sustained during his arrest for writing graffiti.
Is it Basquiat?
Okay, nominate Jones.
Basquiat?
Correct. Secondly, a 1974 work by Dana Chandler comprises a full-sized door riddled with bullet holes and references the killing of which leading member of the Black Panther Party during a police raid on his apartment. He was played by Daniel Kaluuya in a film...
Fred Hampton.
Fred Hampton is correct. Which Turner Prize-winning artist produced the 2014 painting Blue Devils? Inspired by stop-and-search policies, it depicts a traditional character in Trinidadian carnival who is given temporary licence to behave aggressively and intrusively.
Kind of like the King of Fools or something?
Okay, I'm going to guess that. No one's got anything. Okay.
King of Fools?
No, it's Chris Afili. Now let's start the question. The son of Helios, which mythological figure is said to have been struck down by Zeus after...
Sheffield Nail.
Phaeton.
It is Phaeton, yes. Your bonuses then, Sheffield, are three questions on Nobel laureates born in 1923. Val Fitch and his co-researcher James Cronin shared the 1980 Physics Prize for their discoveries concerning CP symmetry and CP violation. For what do the letters C and P stand in these terms?
Particle.
Oh, maybe. Collision particle.
Collision particle.
There's charge conjugation and parity. Second, the Swedish pharmacologist Arvid Carlsson shared the 2000 prize in medicine for research into what key neurotransmitter, sometimes known by the abbreviation DA?
Maybe, because the two I know, it's GABA and acetylcholine, so...
It's not DA though, is
I don't know.
Yeah. Pass.
Dopamine. The US engineer Jack Kilby was awarded a share of the 2000 prize in physics for his part in the invention of what general class of electronic unit known by the initials IC?
Something current, interference current. Any ideas? No. I have no idea. Do you want to guess? No.
Interference current.
No, it's integrated circuit. Now let's start the question. I need a single word here. What class of astronomical object are Didymos and Dimorphos, the latter being the object of DART, a recent successful redirection mission by NASA?
Imperial Deepnath.
Asteroids?
Asteroid is correct, yeah. Your bonuses then, Imperial, are questions on the Portuguese epic poem Os Lusíadas, or the Lusiads, published in Lisbon in 1572. Described as Facundo Capital, or eloquent captain, which historical figure is the poem's principal narrator? The main
Jones?
Vasco da Gama.
Correct. In the poem, da Gama's expedition is presented as favoured by the goddess Venus. Which major Greco-Roman god leads opposition to it? He's portrayed as fearing that he would lose followers in India
Nominate
if da
Jones.
Gama...
Dionysus.
Dionysus is correct, yes. The poem's 10 cantos are written in which stanzaic form, also used in Ariosto's Orlando Furioso and Boccaccio's Filostrato? I need a two-word Italian term which references the number of lines in each stanza.
Trotterima, is it?
Okay, nominate Jones.
Trotterima.
No, it's ottava rima. Picture round now. And for your picture starter, you'll see a still taken from a film. For 10 points, please name the film, and you may answer in English or Spanish.
Imperial Jones.
The Skin We Live In.
No.
Sheffield Rujak.
The Skin That I Live In?
Yes, I'll accept that. The Skin I Live In is the usual English title, but The Skin That I Live In is an exact translation of the Spanish title. Your bonuses then. That was, of course, The Skin I Live In, directed by Pedro Almodóvar. For your bonuses, you will see 3 further images from films by Almodóvar. In each case, I would like the name of the film, either in English or Spanish. Firstly, this 1988 film.
Is that Woman on the Verge?
Women on the Verge. Well, it is one of the early
Okay,
ones.
Women
On the Verge of a Nervous...
A nervous breakdown. Okay, yes, nervous breakdown.
Women or woman?
Women.
On the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Women on the verge of a nervous breakdown.
Correct. Secondly.
Is that official competition?
It was not paranormal.
Official competition.
I'd go for its official competition.
The official.
No, just
Official competition.
Official competition.
No, it's Broken Embraces. And finally, this film, whose Spanish title is retained in the English language version.
Oh, it's Voltaire. Voltaire.
Voltaire.
Yeah.
Voltaire.
Correct. Here's another start of the question then. What name links all of these? A 19th century British mathematician who is credited with pioneering geometric algebra, the name of the keep of York Castle, and a children's book series by Norman Bridwell that features an eponymous red dog.
Sheffield Mail.
Clifford.
Clifford is correct, yes. 3 questions then on Benedictine abbeys. In what present-day country is the Abbey of Melk, that's M-E-L-K, noted both for its library and for Baroque architecture? It stands on an outcrop above the River Danube.
It's, I think, either Austria or Switzerland. Because I think Melk is where it's from. And the name of the road.
Switzerland's Danube's not Switzerland, right?
But maybe Austria then.
Yeah.
If it reaches that far.
Does Austria go Danube over Austria? It's Hungary, is it? No, but...
Come on.
Yeah, Austria.
Austria is correct. Named after an Irish monk who founded a hermitage there in about 612, which abbey gives its name to a present-day canton of eastern Switzerland?
Yeah, it is.
No, pass.
St. Gall. A leading European centre of learning under Rabanus in the 9th century, Fulda is situated northeast of Frankfurt in which German state?
Schleswig-Holstein. No, Frankfurt's Essen. Down south. It'll be maybe Baden-Württemberg?
Yeah. Baden-Württemberg.
No, it's Hesse. Let's start a question. Answer in English or French. 20 years after and The Vicomte of Bragelonne, or 10 years later, are the English titles of novel...
Imperial Lee.
The Three Musketeers?
Correct, it is The Three Musketeers, yes. Your bonuses, Imperial, are on numbers. In each case, answer promptly, expressing the number 11 in the following bases. And I'm going to be tough on timing. First, for 5 points, ternary or base 3?
No. 22.
22?
No, it's 102. Second, binary or base 2?
10101.
10101.
No, it's 1011. Yeah. Finally, hexadecimal or base 16?
Just 11, right? It's B. It's B.
B.
Nominate Dave Nuth.
B.
B for Bravo, yes, well done. Let's start the question now. Michelle Faber's 2002 novel, The Crimson Petal and the White, takes its title from an 1847 work by which poet laureate, who held this position from 1850 to 1892?
Imperial Jones.
Wordsworth.
No.
Sheffield Conclave.
Tennyson.
It was Alfred Lord Tennyson. Your bonuses, Sheffield, are on historical events. In each case, give any one of the 3 consecutive years in which the following took place. First, the first British Open Golf Championship, the abolition of serfdom in Russia, and the publication of Hugo's Les Miserables.
Abolition of serfdom is like 1865 or somewhere around there, I think.
1865.
No, it's 1860, 61 and 62. The first matches in the English Football League, the inauguration of Benjamin Harrison as US President, and the death of Vincent van Gogh.
1893, I think, is the...
What did you say?
1897, probably.
Benjamin Harrison's earlier than that.
No, but it's 3 consecutive years. So.
1897.
No, it's 1888, 89 and 1890. Finally, the first Winter Olympics held at Chamonix, the release of Eisenstein's battleship Potemkin and the general strike in the UK.
26.
is demonstrate.
Actually,
Yeah. 1926.
Yes, 1924, 1925, 1926. 2 minutes to go. What term links both of these? In astronomy, a hypothetical barrier of energetic particles inside the event horizon of a black hole, and in computing, a security system that manages traffic between trusted and untrusted networks.
Imperial Depth.
Firewall.
Firewall is correct. Your bonuses, Imperial, are on people born in Somerset. Born near Ilchester, which 13th century Franciscan friar wrote the work known as the Opus Majus, a discussion of topics including grammar, mathematics, optics and moral philosophy?
Bacon?
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bacon.
Correct, Roger Bacon. Born in East Coker in 1651, which explorer completed 3 circumnavigations of the globe? His published works include the 1703 voyage to New Holland, an account of his expedition to Australia.
Is it Drake? Well, no, I think it's Cook.
Cook.
No, it's William Dampier. Born in Milverton in 1773, which scientist published a course of lectures on natural philosophy and the mechanical arts? This work describes a quantity that now bears his name relating to the elasticity of a material.
Young.
Nominate.
No, Hook. I don't know.
Okay. Nominate Devnath.
Hook.
No, it was Young, as in Young's modulus. This is a quote in a starter question. Music is, by its very nature, essentially powerless to express anything at all. Published in a 1936 autobiography, these are the words of which composer, born near St. Petersburg in 1882?
Imperial Jones.
Tchaikovsky.
No.
Sheffield Mail.
Prokofiev.
No, it's Stravinsky. Another starter question. I need a single given name here. For example, Richard. Which member of the present-day British royal family bears the same title as the husband of Regan in Shakespeare's King Lear?
Imperial Lee.
Richard.
No.
Sheffield McGough.
William.
It is Prince William, the Duke of Cornwall. 3 questions on the men's FA Cup. First, which club won the inaugural FA Cup held in 1872? They won the competition 5 times in the 1870s and took their name from the fact
Preston
that
North End.
No, it's Wanderers. And at the gong, Sheffield have 160 points and Imperial have 195. Sheffield, bad luck, guys. I mean, halfway through that, I was thinking this is going to be a really low-scoring game, but you guys are so good that you absolutely stormed back and were incredibly competitive right up until the end, and then just a couple of starters went the wrong way and they got bonuses. But this is not goodbye. So we get to see you again, which is an encouraging and exciting thought. Imperial, not quite as emphatic as your previous victories, but that is the nature of the competition.
Certainly, they had us on our heels there.
Yeah, big time. It was an incredibly tight game, but it's good to see you being properly tested after your emphatic wins to begin with. We shall certainly see you again. I hope you can join us next time for another quarter-final match. But until then, it's goodbye from Sheffield.
Goodbye.
Bye.
It's goodbye from Imperial.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.